Part 4 of the Accord project coming up next. Got a lot of prep work to do on this Accord, mainly sanding, lots and lots of sanding, so let's get to it. Alright, got both of those tabs repaired. You can see that one and that one. Got the holes drilled also. That one I had to do twice to get it to the strength that I wanted. They should work now. I might have to enlarge those holes a little bit to get these bumpers to perfectly line up, but it'll be good for now. And you can see the progress on the crack. I got it all nice and filled in and sanded. It's nice and smooth, perfectly smooth. I think we got a good repair here. Not absolutely perfect, but that's okay. It's at the bottom of the bumper. You won't be able to see any of this unless you really look close. And it's nice and strong, not going to go anywhere. Alright, if you're curious what the back side looks like, there's a shot of it. Very happy with the outcome of this repair. It's very strong. It's not going to go anywhere. And it looks good right here. This part that you're going to see looks really good. I think I'll take these off. I'll separate them from the actual bumper itself so that I can, it'll be easier to paint these black like they should be. Well, there you go. That's what she looks like, all sanded. This thing had a lot of curb rash. If you saw at the beginning, I tried to get a shot of it. It was all damaged real bad right here. Thick scratches and gouges, and it had been painted over. So these were here before it was painted. So I got most of it out. It's respectable now. There's a couple of deep gouges right here that I don't want to go any further on. I could fill stuff with flexible filler, but that would be a waste. It sits on the card like that. So we're good. It's respectable now. Alright, got all those pieces sanded down. Still got to sand down the bumpers and the mirrors. There's a shot of the repairs, and here's what they look like, or close to it. That's not exactly how the front looked, but very similar to that. And then they had an elongated hole. So this one I recreated most of the shape. I just measured it and put one hole. I may have to elongate it or drill another hole. We'll see, but they seem to be pretty good. Alright, gonna start sanding the bumper covers. I brought out the old fender extender from Astro, and that gives me a little more options for setting stuff. Like, I can set the bumper like that, which is kind of nice, and it'll balance that way. Or I can set it over one end like that. Oops, I have it over too far, like that, and it'll make it nice and sturdy, so it won't be wobbling. Otherwise, I got to put the stand way down. But these things are kind of neat. I always leave in the description. I'll leave links for all the tools I use, or most of them. Well, both bumpers are sanded. This front bumper, I wanted to get all that old clear off because it didn't have factory paint. This was an aftermarket bumper, so I wanted to get all that old crappy paint off, so it took a little longer. The rear bumper, I didn't go as hard on it because it has factory paint on it. I just tried to get the top paint off. But it's looking better. It's not perfect. I'm not going to try to get it perfect. We're just trying to make this thing look better. Put a little bit of flexible filler on there to try to cover up some of those deep gouges. That's about all I'm going to put on there. Whatever stays, stays. I'm not too worried about making this thing perfect. I'm having to go a little more aggressive than I would like to, or than I normally would on plastic parts like this. Normally I would just use a maroon Scotch-Brite pad like that, just scuff the surface up and then we can repaint. But I got to get all this crap off, and I want to feather edge that paint line where it's peeling back. You can see where I did it here. So I got to get a lot of this stuff off and get a nice feather edge right there, and that's why I got to go a little more aggressive. Alright, got a brand new tool, actually a couple brand new tools. We got this contouring SCT from Eastwood, and I'll be using that to try to take it down to paint real quick. And I'll compare it to the old Baxter from Harbor Freight. That's just a run-of-the-mill DA dual action sander. Got 40 grit on there, so we'll compare that versus this. This is the equivalent of 40 grit also. Well, I got the hood all sanded down. I took this area all down to metal because there were a lot of little dings, and so it was easier to just take it all down and then put a skim coat of filler. We'll flatten that out, block it, so we should be able to knock most of those little dings out. Got those couple of little dings right here. Over here, there were a couple of dings that I saw, and it was a little wavy, so I started taking the metal off, and the more I did that, the more that I saw that this panel was actually repaired. I don't believe it was a replacement now. I think they just fixed it because I found a bunch of filler right here. So I took all the filler out so we can redo it because the stuff they had was all wavy, and so we needed to fix it anyway. So ground it all out and we'll start new. And I definitely like that Eastwood Contour SCT, the way it takes it down to metal. It makes a really nice finish, and it's pretty easy to work with. Now that was right here where we only had one coat of paint because this is a replacement hood. We'll see how it does with factory paint plus an additional aftermarket paint product on top of it. So this is going to be harder to get down to metal than these other things. So we'll see how it works in later panels. And this sander right here was definitely taxing my air compressor much more than this one. It was really putting a strain on it. So I switched over to the electric just to give the air compressor a break. Alright, I knocked down my filler with 180 grit just on the DA real quick just to knock the ridges off. I did sand this down, put some filler on there real quick, and I knocked this down with the DA also, and I sanded all this. I tried to get greedy with the filler that I used on the other side. Tried to start filling in just a couple of low spots that I already noticed, but it started to harden up on me, so I'll probably have to put more on there. But now we got to get the blocks. You can see I have three different blocks, and then we got to just block all the body filler smooth. I got 180 grit on all three of them. Well, I got the body work done on these three panels with two fenders in the hood, and I'm very happy with it. It's not perfect, but it's really nice. That might look like it's a lot of filler, but it's really thin. You can kind of see where it's bleeding through right there. Just a couple of imperfections where it's wavy. Just wanted to get that straightened out. There, want to know what it's like to paint a car? This is what it's like. Lots and lots of sanding. Alright, want a tip for getting into stuff like this? Scotch-Brite maroon scuff pad, and just take a spreader like this. You can get down right in that corner like that. Really helps out, that way that paint will stick. We just got to get it scuffed in places like this, and this is an easy way to do it. I don't know if you could see, but there was a ton of body filler right here. I definitely don't recommend that, especially on a corner, an edge like this where we need strength. We don't want to put just a bunch of regular body filler on here and build it up. They put quite a bit of filler, whoever worked on this last. I knew this was going to be a can of worms, this corner right here. When I saw the waves, I was like, do I really want to get into it? Because I knew it was going to be ugly. And I didn't put all these holes in here, that's what they did. That's how many studs I used. Just used my stud welder. Gently pulled it out as best I could, straightened out the lip. It's pretty straight now. Now I'll use some Bondo glass, which has fiberglass in there. We'll put that over the top here, and that'll add strength. That'll make it strong. And we can fill holes up to a ½ inch. I could get the welder out and weld that, but I don't feel like it. But the Bondo glass, we'll fill those. We'll be good to go. Alright, sanding and body work is all done. Had to go behind whoever worked on this last and fix that, and that was kind of a pain. A lot of little dings right in there that I had to put a skim coat of filler on and fix. Not absolutely perfect body work, but it's much better than it was. Should be good for the paint job we're going to put on here. This was another area where I had to go behind and fix what they had done. They had way too much filler on there. I wasn't comfortable with that. Didn't want to go into the door jamb, you know, for anything, but I'm going to have to touch that up and paint a little bit in there. But much more confident with this slight bit of filler that's in there and pulling it out straight rather than having an inch of body filler in there. But I'll tape it up tomorrow and we'll be ready for prime. Still got a lot of work to do on this vehicle, but that's all for this episode. The body work and the filler stuff that I showed in this episode, it was filmed over several days. I didn't do it all in one day. Very happy with all the tools, especially that Contour SCT from Eastwood. That thing works really well. I was wrong about the fender. That is an aftermarket fender, so it's giving me a little more issues than maybe if it would have been a Honda fender. But it is what it is, and we'll have to deal with it. And as always, hey, if the video helped you out or you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.